always him. Kyohei grabbed his head and thought, if he does something insignificant, he causes a massive problem. Nightwalker is a guild of rankers led by his older brother. Should he contact him? He decided to call him, and then remembered the conflict inside and said, well, this is a problem, but he has no choice. He dialed his brother's number, and his brother answered and asked, hello. Kyohei, did he really call him first? MC said, hi, how is he? Brother replied, no need to worry, he's fine. True, the role of guildmaster takes a lot of time, but he's not complaining. How is he? Mom and Dad, by the way, saw his stream. They were sincerely happy for him. Kyohei replied, yeah, he'd better tell him. He heard something about the guild's special offensive group Paprika? Brother asked. He means special PA? He heard, but what's the question? Did they do something to him? MC frowned and said that he met them on the Sauron Plain. Members of this guild openly troll other players and prevent them from leveling up in the starting location. He learned about their line of work in the content. It's not for everyone, he'll say so. They don't just troll newbies, they deliberately send their streamers to the county to reduce the number of players. MC's eyes widened in fear and he asked, cut back? Really? Brother replied, that's right. They're preparing to conquer Sauron County, making it the guild's main base. If the county is besieged, newbies who aren't guild members will stand in their way. That's why they came up with this incredible tactic. They sent streamers to the hunting grounds and started interfering with other players. Naturally, none of their players would want to stay there after that. This strategy worked. There are fewer and fewer players in Sauron County, Kyohei thought, so that's why they were acting like idiots. He unknowingly interfered with a hopeless nightmare. If the siege begins, the county will no longer be accessible. He needs to complete the quest and get out of there before it's too late. Brother asked, by the way, Kyohei, why doesn't he stream anymore? He won't leave any explanations on the channel. Mom and Dad are worried. Yeah, him too. MC replied, everything is fine, nothing special. Brother said that it has been so many years since they all got together. Even Chi wants to see him. Suddenly there was a loud scream, brother. He said, okay, he's willing to wait as long as it takes. MC said, good luck to him, brother. And thanks for the information. He hung up and grabbed his head, looking down. He wondered, what the hell is he doing? Like some kind of loser. Well, that is true. Why can't his life just go smoothly like everyone else's? Why do all the worst things happen to him? And it has always been like this. No matter how hard he tries, whatever he does, he ends up in an even bigger nightmare. No, it has nothing to do with him. He just always finds himself in the middle of it all and has to suffer because of others. MC clenched his fists and said, and it's incredibly infuriating. First the illegal taming of bosses, now the trolls that interfere with literally everyone. He didn't start it. They provoked him. Right, it's not his fault. He lost everything he'd worked for overnight, and now he's forced to get involved in a new conflict? He slammed his fist on the table and screamed. It doesn't concern him. After a while, he lay down in the machine and thought he should just level up. He should level up by the time they take the next step, and they will all face retribution at his hand. He entered the game and moved to the Sauron Plain location, the second zone. The knight struck the monster and then turned around and said, but the opponents here are much stronger than in the first zone. The girl replied, then they will deal with each one individually. The knight wiped his face and said, then they will move on. His body changed in a matter of seconds, and he fell dead. The girl screamed in fear. What just happened? Are there monsters on the Sauron Plain that can literally suck health out of a player? The system window reported that the mosquito bullet successfully restored his health. MC said, this bullet really heals. Healed him from a distance due to the damage indicator. Cool. He never thought that he would get something so useful in the starting area. There is one but, he was not aiming at the player. The system window reported that he killed a player. His crime index is 4,800 points. Kyohei thought, if the crime index continues to rise, he simply will not be able to enter the county territory. But he can't control this mosquito at all. The system window reported, mosquito bullet. The proficiency level and synchronization coefficient are 0.1%. MC thought, apparently, it is better for him not to use this in locations with a lot of players. First, he should pump up the synchronization coefficient. He said, well, he better focus on pumping. The system window reported that he is level 99. He thought, in the game, after level 100, it becomes really hard to pump up. There is only one way to overcome this barrier, killing bosses like the three-headed sea dragon, or Inferno Orochi, for example. But there is a problem. There are no bosses on the Sauron Plain. And this is logical, because this is the starting location. He will have to go to the nearest area with a boss, but he still has not completed the Raiden quest, so what is the point of him running back and forth? What should he do? Suddenly he fell from the branch on which he was sitting and looked around. Loud screams were heard, a monster. They need to run. Kyohei asked, what just happened? He saw a huge monster and thought, is it a lesser demon? It is only summoned by the magic bag. Someone used this item on purpose? The demon swung the sphere and threw it towards the players, who were very scared of what was happening. They rushed to the side and ordered to run, to save themselves. Who can? The monsters screamed loudly and also rushed to run away. The player said, he hopes the camera conveys what's happening in the game well. He spread his arms in different directions and asked, don't they have fun watching these noobs die? Centuan donated 200 coins, thanks to him for the donation. The player grinned and said, who would have known that a stingy guildmaster would suddenly decide to use a magic bag? The guy grinned and answered, apparently, this is serious. The guy smiled and said, whoever cut down their allies, he is no match for a level 300 boss. Suddenly, he looked up and screamed, what's wrong with him? MC was sitting in ambush and attacking the demon, saying that they were asking for it themselves. Stinking grinders. Although you have to give them credit. Kyohei thought, they brought the boss here for him. He started attacking the monster, and then screamed, 1,000 steps. He jumped to the side and thought, and that's the difference when he engages in battle with a level 300 enemy. Victory will not be easy. Better to keep a good distance and not slow down. The system window reported that his stealth level was 53%. The demon clenched its jaws in irritation, and blood began to flow from its hand. MC thought, he thinks 5 well-aimed shots will be enough to finish off the creature, but he needs to choose a suitable cover for something like this. Suddenly, he turned around and saw a huge black sphere rushing straight at him. It hit him and he fell to the ground. Kyohei thought, horror, if not for the sightedness, he would have been left with no health at all. He needs to hide until his stealth level is. The system window reported that he was affected by necrotic poison. The restless evil spirit will exit his body in 5 minutes. Status, possession by a restless spirit. MC thought, necrotic poison? It seems like his health is not gradually being taken away, but his status. A bright glow began to emanate from his body, and MC screamed, nightmare, he was noticed! While a powerful explosion occurred on the field, one of the players looked out from behind a rock and whispered, is this the sniper they were looking for? Another player asked, what is he doing? They need to get out of here before they get caught in the heat of the moment. Before he could finish speaking, a player's body fell next to him. He screamed in fear, what the hell? At that moment, a shot flew into the demon's face. He grabbed his head. The protagonist said, phew, that was a relief. If there weren't people with a full hitbox nearby, he would have fallen back on the spot. Then he looked at the monster and asked, is this the first time he's fought a shooter who heals? Maybe? He grinned and suggested checking who's who, the gorilla on steroids. Then he threw a few magic projectiles at him. The protagonist thought, he started to think that he didn't have much health left. He should aim right at his head, and then, first, he needs to distract him somehow. The next second, he noticed an object in front of him, and smiling said, he figured out who would help him with this. At that moment, one of the players, also peeking out from behind a rock, said, damn, why is this guy so tenacious? If they screw up again, the master will hang them. Then he pointed his finger forward and shouted, what do you mean by that? This is a beginner's location, so he must be a beginner. No matter how much he runs, he will still die, right? His comrade agreed, they just need to wait. He can't handle it alone. Then another player came up to them and he shouted, is he an idiot? Where is he going? Does he want to die? He turned his gaze to him and asked, why so much panic? They just need to see how much loot is left after the fools die. And from other mobs too. They looked at the field strewn with boxes. He asked, are they just going to stand and watch the others take the free loot? With these words, he decided to climb over the stone. The player agreed, extra loot wouldn't hurt them, of course, but in this situation, they. At that moment, the player used an ability called 1,000 steps. The others, looking up at him, shouted in surprise, what was that? To weapons, quickly. Something jumped right into the grass. One of them said that he didn't see it. The player pointed his weapon at him and shouted, is he a complete idiot? Does he want to become a victim of a sniper, like the others? If they don't hide now, then. Before he could finish speaking, the demon appeared right above them and hit them with his clenched fists. The player shouted, this idiot. All he can do is cowardly hide and command. The magician shouted, we need to squash this demon ourselves, and that's the end of it. He objected, has he gone crazy? A magic bag costs about 3,000 gold. How is he going to explain this murder to the boss? He shouted back, they released this demon to find the sniper, right? He must be exhausted from all this fighting and hiding somewhere in the grass. If they hurry, they will find him. Before he could finish speaking, they were pierced by one shot. The player screamed in fear, they are all finished. His comrades screamed, they are trapped. Why did he even get involved in this? Then the demon crushed them with his huge hand. At this moment, MC, jumping from stone to stone, made his way forward. Looking through the scope, he said, a great angle. After that, he shot the demon, breaking off one of its horns. Coming closer, he pointed the gun at it and said, nothing personal, it was all for the sake of leveling up, I had to run. After that, he fired a bullet into the monster's neck and said, but it still died. Then he fell to the ground, and the system reported, the level has increased. The current level, 105. At that moment, one of the players, holding a telescope with a trembling hand, asked in bewilderment, "Did he kill him? Did he really succeed?" Meanwhile, another player was quickly running towards the loot. He was shouting, "Out of the way! All this loot will be his." But before he could finish speaking, the protagonist pointed a gun at the players, hitting the player in the head. He said, "Where are they running, jackals? Do they want to pocket the loot? And they don't want to go to hell?" Then the system reported that he killed the player. The crime index is 5400. After some time, he was sitting surrounded by loot and, having brought up a system window, said, "So, what do they have here?" It said, "The loot is 210 gold, a strong belt, a health potion, fragments of demon claws." He said, "In fact, except for the belt, nothing useful. If he sells everything, he will get about 90 gold. And this," he looked at the bottle in his hand in surprise. A system window appeared in front of him which said, "Necrotic poison. Restless evil spirit appears from the body of a person affected by poison 5 minutes after poisoning. Applications left 10 times. He said that it might come in handy. But he is worried about something else. What are these idiots from Spetspa going to do next? Meanwhile, Carice, the guildmaster of the special offensive group Paprika, clenched his fist and shouted, "What the hell are they doing? Their plan is going in one place because they can't kill one idiot," he thought. "Killed a junior demon in 3 minutes. His level is about 500 or even higher. They can't compete with him. He spent so much money so that the county of Sauron finally became theirs." He would never have thought that in a location for beginners he would stumble upon such a monster. Then he called the player and thought that he couldn't waste their resources anymore. Lone answered the call and asked, "Is he listening?" He replied that it was him. The lesser demon had fallen. The player asked, "So what?" He was indignant. "What do you mean, so what?" He had to quickly go and finish off this idiot. His level was over 500. He could definitely handle him. He replied, "Well, does he understand? He was kind of on a mission here. But if he paid him more, of course, so be it, he would give it up." Carice put his hand to his face and said, "Okay." He thought, their plan should be put into action very soon. They needed to get rid of this evil spirit as soon as possible. Lone, sitting on the monster's body, looked at the rising moon and said, he seemed to have completely despaired. Okay, he would contact him when he arrived in the county. After some time, the protagonist found himself in the Sauron Plain location, the third zone. He ran forward, monsters ran after him. One of them put his hand forward, directed a powerful attack forward, creating an explosion. The next second, the fire dissolved. The monsters looked around in confusion, then one of them noticed the movement and attacked forward again. He cried out in surprise, seeing a mountain of bones collapse. He raised his hand, trying to get out. Meanwhile, the protagonist fell to the ground and thought how tired he was. He got to his feet and said, he hates this place, no shelters, nothing. There are only rangers around, it is inconvenient for him to fight here. And yet he went quite far. He thought that they should appear any minute. The next second, a system window appeared in front of him, which reported that he was bitten by an angler bird. His endurance is reduced by -1, he said, and here they are. The system reported that he was bitten by an angler bird. His agility and vigilance are reduced by -1. He thought that his stats were melting before his eyes, but there was no choice. Only with this, he could get Unwavering. Unwavering is a special ability that increases his defense depending on the damage value, but this only manifests itself if his health is reduced to almost 0. This ability is for tanks who need more health and defense, but for the owner of a weapon enchanted to +19, this is an incredible imbalance. Literally no one can kill him. You can consider that he will find a second wind. Unwavering has only one problem, the way to get it. A system window appeared in front of him, which said the conditions for obtaining the Unwavering skill. He needs to defeat 99 monsters of the same level as him. These opponents must injure him 99 times. He must also survive, maintaining at least 9% of health. The counter of killed enemies is 31 out of 99. He thought that killing 99 monsters is not a problem, but being attacked by them 99 times. For the musketeer class, which is known for its low health, this is like torture. And then the angler bird comes into play. An incorporeal monster whose level he will not be able to find out until he kills it, but players hate these creatures not only for this reason. It is because they permanently steal one random stat. They will deal a fixed amount of damage, as the name suggests. The angler bird will circle above the player, biting him. However, defeating the angler bird can also randomly increase a couple of stats. The only problem is that the monster in front of him fell to the ground. The system reported that he defeated the angler bird. Increased stats, vitality +1, vision 4, strength +6. He thought that these incorporeal creatures are hard to kill. He took the monster in his hand and said, ate half of his stats, but in the end he managed to kill only a few. After some time, the system reported that the conditions for obtaining the Unwavering skill had been met. The enemy kill count was 99 out of 99. Even on the verge of death, his body and spirit endured. He successfully killed 99 monsters of the same level as him and also survived 99. And since this proves his determination, God granted him an ability that only the chosen ones are granted. He receives the skill Unwavering. The special skill Unwavering. The skill is activated when the health bar falls below 10%, increases his defense by 50% from damage received. Available 7 days. He said that now there is no need to worry about his survival, but he thought that this skill would be permanent. Wait, what? He looked in surprise at the system window that appeared. It said, the special skill is a gift from God. These gifts can only be received by the chosen ones. However, because he was reborn, he is not given the gifts from his past life. The counter of special skills is 2. He asked in surprise, can he only have 2 special skills? He thought, this damn reincarnation. Then he looked at the system window which said, name, Ted, class musketeer, race, human, title, owner of a 6-pointed star, achievements, frisky snipers, special skills, the first, steadfastness, the second, absent. He thought, in any case, he got what he came for, and he would think about the rest tomorrow. He released the mosquito and said, first, let him heal. He thought, it would be better not to let the mosquito near the players anymore, and the crime index is already off the charts. The next second, the mosquito disappeared. His health indicator sharply decreased. He was surprised. What was happening? Health did not recover, even dropped more. Once more, he released the mosquito again. It flew up, but the next second the monster absorbed it. The protagonist thought, an angler bird just ate his mosquito. Because of this, his health decreased. That's right, the mosquito can't even bite them. It's not incorporeal. They just grabbed his bullet as a delicacy. He irritably said that he wants to play here, and they eat his bullets. Then he frowned and thought, wait, if they were literally eating his bullets, he might as well poison them. After that, he took out the necrotic poison and opened the bottle, summoned a mosquito and thought, what if I do this? He poured the poison on the mosquito that appeared. The bullet flew forward. The next second, the monster fell to the ground and the system reported that he defeated the angler bird. Increase in characteristics, vitality +9, intelligence +4, agility +5. He smiled wickedly and said, the heat is coming. He is grateful to him, demon. His characteristics continued to increase. As night fell, he fired a bullet forward, creating an explosion. He said, control to the head. Open the status window. A system window appeared in front of him, which said level 150, reincarnated once. Profession, musketeer, race, human, title, Lord of the 6-pointed star, achievements, fast sniper, special skills, first, steadfastness, second, health 928, strength 56, vitality 98, mana 200, dexterity 228, intelligence 30, vigilance 253. He thought, recovered 99 status points, receiving another 44 additional points on top, and even increased the level. A system window appeared in front of him, which said, mosquito bullet. Type, activated, proficiency level 25%. He pointed his finger at the mosquito and thought, his proficiency level also rose, and now the mosquito is also better controlled. And now it is not so easy to swat. The system reported, mosquito bullet, health points 100, damage 1081. He said that it was time to move to the 4th zone, otherwise he still hadn't seen any strange clouds. For now, he will continue to level up to kick the ass of that Chinese guild and CGTV. Then he looked ahead in surprise, paying attention to the moon. He asked, did the moon always look so strange in this location? The next second, the ground under him began to glow. A powerful explosion occurred. The players came forward. One of them shouted, they finally found him. Idiot. This time, he is definitely finished. His comrade added, he has no idea who will beat his ass now. At that moment, a bullet flew into the player's neck. His partner, perplexed, said, what the? The next second, he also froze and fell. MC, hiding behind a tree, thought, if it weren't for the mosquito, he would have already died when they only managed to install the dormant volcano. But the problem is not even that, but the moon eye. Hybrid class skill, musketeer, moon, priest. And the enemy's level is clearly not small, if somewhere around 500. I see. He is in the crosshairs of a strong musketeer. He hasn't fought with players equal to him for a long time. It's time to find out what his current character is capable of. This is the perfect moment. Lone at this moment, pressed to the ground, looked at the bodies of the players and asked why he sent this food with him. After that, he got to his feet and said, not only is it useless, but they all got burned at once. He thought, but what bothers him more is that, despite his 2 shots, he cannot calculate his location. How can you hide the glare of the sight and still hit vital points? The level and skills indicate level 500, maybe even higher. So he is fighting against a ranker, but what is a ranker doing in a beginner's lock? The next second, a bullet flew right next to his head. He managed to dodge and thought, despite all of the above, he is too sure that he will not find him in the night. After that, he looked through the sight and said, we need to arrange a duel of high-ranking musketeers. Then he used a tornado whirlwind. Several bullets at once, curling into a whirlwind, flew forward. The protagonist looked out from behind a tree and thought, enough already. Not only did he reveal himself, but he also decided to kill with such powerful bullets at once. It seems that a tornado whirlwind is a weapon of mass destruction. Powerful, of course, but it eats up too much mana. He completely despaired and decided to shoot without thinking. Then he used 1,000 steps. The next moment, he covered himself with his hand from the rising smoke and thought, does he really just want to destroy the entire forest so that he has nowhere to hide? He's going to finish him off before his mana runs out completely? If so, he should try it. After that, he fired a shot that hit the player's chest. He thought, it worked. Such a high-level guy can't be killed with one shot, but the damage was impressive. At that moment, Lone put his hand on the hole that formed in his armor and said, he destroyed the protective artifact with one precise shot. He thought, this kind of damage, this is not even level 500. How did the guys from SpecPaw bring such a monster on themselves? I myself am curious. After that, he used the ability, the eye on the moon opened again, and he thought, now he definitely can't hide anywhere. The only surviving position is in those trees. After that, he took out a scroll and said, the magic book of the outcast. He sent it forward. A whirlwind of energy headed towards the trees. Looking at the unrolled scroll, he asked, well, if it's a ranker musketeer, he definitely knows him. The system reported processing information, name, Ted, level 150, class musketeer, crime index 5600. He cried out in confusion, what, only level 150? He thought, somehow it doesn't match his damage at all. Then he frowned and asked, maybe a cheater? So wait, Ted? His name is Ted? Suddenly his body trembled, and he said, he's had enough. Not only is the cheater playing a musketeer, but he also uses the name of the great Ted. The end of him, idiot. He used a special accumulation skill. In addition to natural recovery, he is able to accumulate excess mana. If he runs out of mana, he can use the one accumulated using this skill. He quickly ran forward and said, it's not even about the mission. He'll finish off any idiot who uses the name. The protagonist at this point, looking through the sight, was surprised. What? What is he doing? The player, moving in a zigzag pattern, was approaching him. He thought, he spent all his mana on an area attack. Now he's running straight at him? Maybe he has a special accumulation skill? Then he said, if he regenerated all his mana, that's a big problem. So mad that he can't find him, that he decided to go head on. He should keep his distance. The next second, several projectiles flew at him. He shouted in surprise, what? Then he grinned and thought, he found him. Lone, continuing to shoot forward, shouted, he has to get out, damn poser. MC, running out from behind a tree, thought, now, field of view. He fired forward, again hitting the player's armor. Lone turned around and asked, is this it? He suddenly started to aim. The protagonist was surprised and thought, what? He suddenly dodged behind a tree and pressed himself against it. Thought, the field of view didn't work? Now he understood what was confusing him so much. He also has 1,000 steps. Did he really copy his fighting style by watching his broadcasts? The player screamed furiously, he will not forgive. An idiot who uses the name of the ideal of the musketeer class. On behalf of the fan club leader Ted, he will destroy him, idiot. With these words, he raised his weapon, concentrating his energy. MC, looking at the moon, thought, is he loading a moonlight bullet? If he uses this, the entire forest will blow up. It won't take long to die like that. Of course, he can activate steadfastness, but it may not save him from such a powerful attack. There is no other way out. I will have to use this choice joke. After that, he threw the sphere forward. Lone said that no matter where he ran, he would not be able to hide from his bullet. He must die. The next second, he fired. Musketeers have always been the most unpopular and terrible class. Accuracy is too important, and a lot of gold is spent on cartridges. There is no auto-aiming. The player must learn to shoot accurately at the target himself. For this, you also need to fork out extra bullets. In addition, this is the weakest class in terms of health. It can be knocked out with one blow forward feet. And he can't change this in any way. Even the hybrid class of the Musketeer Priest does not save the situation. Not only do both of these classes have low survivability, but they also do not complement each other and do not compensate for the disadvantages. The ridicule of other players outweighed his love for his avatar. As a result, he hated the character he began to pump for 5 whole years. At that moment, a system window appeared in front of him, which said, character deletion. Does he want to delete the selected character? It will be saved for 3 days from the moment of deletion, after which it will completely disappear. He should pay attention that all inventory items will also disappear after deletion. He thought that he was about to let go of his hands, but then a miracle happened. Perfect shooting, fast movements, they were on the same level, but he played just perfectly. For all the musketeers, he became a legend, who gave hope. And he was one of them. Watching the streams, he felt it. If he could, then he can too. He did not waste 5 years of his life on this character in vain. He saved him. In the present, Lone looked at the remains of the explosion and thought that it was all over. This is what happens to those who defame the name of a legend. Then his brows furrowed. He looked in bewilderment at the disappearing body of the goblin. He shouted, What the hell? Where did the goblin come from? He thought, impossible. Goblins don't live on the Sauron plains. So that idiot summoned a goblin. Where did he get the summoning? Where could he get such a useless skill? At that moment, a shot flew at him. Looking back, he thought, did he really learn this skill on purpose to use goblins as bait? He has a low level but a sharp mind and the ability of a ranker. At that moment, the protagonist pushed off the ground and jumped up. He used his field of vision. Lone, watching him through the sight of his gun, thought he can tell for sure he killed a lot of time training and leveling up, and his fighting style completely copies Ted. He must die. The next second, he still fired. The fragments of the protagonist's armor scattered in all directions. He shouted in surprise. What? He thought in surprise. Steadfastness? How can a level 150 player have such a rare skill? He got it. He had seen this many, no millions of times. This pose, the sight, the position of the hands, the very aura around him. He knows it all down to the smallest detail. He can say with confidence that it is him. It is not a pity to die at the hands of a legend. After some time, a system window appeared in front of the protagonist, which said that his level had increased. The current level was 152. He looked at the disappearing opponent in surprise and thought, this guy? Is he a fan of his? So that's why he immediately saw through the field of view he invented. He hopes that he did not realize that he was fighting him, right? After that, he fell to the ground and sighing, said, thanks to him. He raised 2 levels at once, so screw it. He would never have thought to use this damn Baron sphere. Then the system reported, skill sphere used, summon a goblin of rank D. He said that he saved it for a reason. He felt that it would come in handy in the end. Okay, he'll continue doing Raiden's quest and leveling up tomorrow. He's tired of today. After that, he logged out. Meanwhile, Carice was indignantly shouting, what? He lost. Lone only apologized in response. But even he, a level 550 player, couldn't do anything. However, he's sure that he doesn't care about the county, fortunately, unless he was hired by some NPC, and that's unlikely. Carice put his hand to his head and thought, did a level 550 ranker lose? While he's dead, he can hardly count on a rematch. After that, he said that this is terrible news, but he thinks that his help in the siege of the county will help compensate for the money he invested in it. He replied that as soon as he respawns, he'll help right away. After that, he entered the office and said, here he is. Mila, looking at the computer screen, noticed that he was late. Yuri looked at her and asked, so how was it? Did he complete the order from Spetstup, huh? He's lucky. At least they don't treat him like something bad because he's at gunpoint. Then he said that he lost. The girls looked at him in surprise, and he smiled and added, and apparently, to work off the money for the order, he'll have to participate in the siege. Mila grabbed him by the clothes and was indignant. How could he lose to a noob from the beginner's location? Not only did Ted disappear, but he also decided to defame the musketeers. Yuri covered her mouth with her hands and said, he was the most talented of them. How could he lose? He raised his index finger with a smile and told them not to worry, but he had a new trick. They all need to buy a goblin summoning skill sphere. Mila was indignant. What goblin? Has he completely lost his mind? At that moment, Yuri turned to Jordan and asked if the disappearance had affected his skill that way. He asked if they would have to change the leader. Then Mila folded her arms across her chest and asked why he was so happy if he had lost. He spread his arms wide and asked why. Because he had witnessed the rebirth of a miracle. After a while, MC waved his hand in front of his face, driving away the rising smoke. He said, did a favor, fan, blew the whole forest to hell, now monsters won't spawn. Oh well, he leveled up normally. He can afford to go further, to the 4th zone. Peeking out from behind the rocks, he said, well, what do we have here? After that, he called for a status. A system window appeared in front of him which said, additional status, sharpness. He is able to perceive objects more accurately. The status increases his visual acuity. The current area exploration percentage is 54. He said that vigilance is a useful thing after all. No matter how you look at it, there's something else behind their activity. What are they planning? The area exploration percentage has reached 100%. The exploration has been completed. The main character, opening his eyes in surprise, shouted, stop. The system reported that he had found a trace of the Lord of Decay. He thought that Specpa was simply going to seize the county by force, but they were seriously planning to summon the boss here? This would not be a simple siege. They were planning to put Sauron County under their control with the help of the boss, and it seemed that they were determined. He looked at the system window and, putting his hand to his chest, said that he had completed the task and it would be too much trouble to get involved any further. Walking forward, he thought, although he could not shake the feeling that there were more than just Specpa behind all this, the story was much more complicated. And if that was the case, he needed to become even stronger. After some time, fiery dragonflies were flying in front of him. He was at the location of the Spirit Temple. The recommended level is 180 and above. He shot at the insect, hitting it, and then smiling, said, he finally found them. a flock of fiery dragonflies. Well, will they start? After that, he used the goblin summon. 3 goblins appeared from the magic symbol formed on the ground. He awkwardly scratched the back of his head and thought that so far he only had the summoning of these dummies from new skills. He had to figure out how to use them. At first, he wanted to get another skill sphere, and only then go to mid-level locations, where both the opponents are fatter and the rewards are more solid. But he checked the marketplace, and there were simply no decent skill spheres there. He was unlucky even in this. If he had at least one useful sphere, he would become much stronger. Then one of the goblins took him by the cloak and looked at him pitifully. MC said, "But you have to be able to enjoy the little things." He thought that now they are not even up to level 30. He's not even talking about their combat power, but maybe it is possible to pump up their speed? Then he will be able to use them as bait. After that, he said, "Attention everyone. Do they see a firebug? They must attract the attention of this one and run away, and he will shoot." The goblins trembled with fear. Looking at him, they began to cry and shake their heads negatively. The protagonist asked, "So what are they crying about?" "He will finish them off with one shot." "Okay, they must put this on." After that, he gave them chainmail and shields. He raised his index finger and shouted, "Stop shaking, green. Get to work quickly." After that, the goblins ran forward. The protagonist, having prepared his weapons, thought, did they understand the order? Well, he will have to trust if he wants to find a use for them. Then he looked in surprise at the approaching flock of dragonflies and indignantly shouted, "Hey them! Where are they going?" He fired a powerful shot, and after a while the goblins desperately lowered their heads. He sat opposite them and said, he clearly expressed his request. Why the hell are they not listening? Are they laughing at him? They shook their heads negatively, and the protagonist, putting his hand to his head, said, "God." He thought, they don't listen to orders, they are incapable of coming up with a strategy, but what good are they? After that, he looked up at the sky in surprise and said, "This." The system reported that there was a level 190 astral dragonfly there. The goblins began to run away in fear. MC hit the target with one shot. After that, he said, "It's just a winged insect. As they say, it wouldn't hurt a fly. Do they really think that he can't swat one bug?" The system reported that his level had been increased, current level 155. Lord of the Six-Pointed Star, skill sphere increase. The D-rank goblin summoning skill level has reached 100%. The goblin summoning skill is evolving from D rank to C rank. He was surprised. What? So soon? What's wrong with that? Oh right, goblins level up by hunting monsters. He killed a high-level monster while their summoning was active, so they also gained experience. He thought, what will they evolve into? Orcs? Ogres? He would even agree to a goblin mage. At least they would be of some use. After that, the goblins shone brightly, and the next second, they changed their skin color. The system informed him that he could summon silver goblins, rank C, active skill type, uses 50 mana, cooldown is 1 hour, he can summon 3 goblins at a time. Duration is 30 minutes, goblin's special skill is imitation, you can increase goblins' levels by hunting. He thought, silver goblins? What the hell? Just change the color, and that's it. He was upset, it looks like he wasted his time. Then he looked at the system window in surprise and shouted, "It's this!" The system window said, Goblin's special skill is imitation. Silver goblins are able to synchronize their consciousness with the summoner and learn everything he knows. As the goblins level up, his mastery level will also increase, and his behavior can change depending on the knowledge he has acquired. His synchronization will increase by 2% for each level up. Synchronization level, 10%. Mastery level, 10%. He was surprised. They can now do the same as him? As much as 10%. His dears, they should come to him. He will give them something. After some time, he gave the goblins weapons. They went to hunt golems. The silver goblin fired a shot, leaving a gaping hole in the monster's body. The protagonist asked, "How are they?" His current damage is 13,020, so the goblin will have 10%, 1,302 damage. Darlings, from now on they will be firing a gun at all the monsters that breathe. He directed his goblins and commanded, "Fire!" Great, now at that one. The goblins happily fired at the targets, and then MC said, "Hey, stand still." They turned sharply, pressing their weapons to themselves. He said, until he gives the command to fire, they will not shoot, everyone understands. He thought, they still have a lot to learn, but this is fine too. He looked at the disappearing body of the Mad Thunderbear and thought, they cut down the boss of the level 200 location. The system reported that his level was increased, current level is 200. He has never died in 200 character levels. Now he is known for his excellent survival skills on the harsh battlefields of the Fateful Chronicles. The achievement of Survival Expert has been obtained. The achievement of Survival Expert is a plus 5% bonus to health, plus the skill Chew and Live. Chew and Live is a passive type of skill. Eating any plant restores his health and dulls the feeling of hunger. He thought the mastery of the summoning skill has increased to 30% and synchronization to 16%. which means that their damage is now even higher than that of level 350 players. While he was training goblins, he also received a new skill. The system window said empathy is a passive type of skill. He is able to share his emotions with summoned creatures and also feel their emotions in response. He thought initially only the summoner class had this skill, and now his little soldiers are capable of at least some teamwork. His personal army. Then he clapped his hands and said, "So, at ease, it's time for them to go." He looked around and asked in surprise, "Where is the other one?" The system reported that Goblin number 3 was scared. Goblin number 3 was attacked. He shouted, "What the hell? Where did he go?" One of the goblins pointed his finger to the side. The protagonist quickly ran there and thought, "Damn, he should have called them off right away. Of course, he won't disappear forever, but if he dies, he can't be reborn for an hour." He's there. The protagonist made his way through the foliage and saw his goblin lying on the ground. There were players next to him. Elsa, pointing her finger at him, asked, "Hey, who is this anyway?" Victor answered, "Yes, it's a goblin. The lowest mob possible." With these words, he stepped on the goblin's head with his boot. He screamed hysterically. Victor, seeing the main character, asked, "What's wrong with him? A bear's head?" He replied indignantly, "He should remove his stinking foot." This is his summon. They know perfectly well that there are no goblins in this location. He does not believe that he attacked them himself. Then he looked at the insignificant amount of HP of his goblin and thought, well, everything is fine. He still has 5% of health left. If they leave now, he can heal him. After that, the player used a fireball. He asked, "Are they deaf?" He told them that this is his summon. Victor, grinning, apologized and said that he didn't hear. Since it was his summon, he should take care of its upbringing. MC shouted irritably, "These idiots." At that moment, another goblin grabbed him by the cloak, and the system reported that Goblin number 1 and Goblin number 2 were currently feeling angry because of the murder of their fellow. Under the influence of strong emotions, the synchronization level increased. The bonus is plus 10% to the synchronization indicator. He looked at the goblins ready to attack and said, "They." At that moment, Victor said, "Head, do his useless mobs understand anything?" Something is grinning at him. Have they completely lost their fear? James said, "Even stupid goblins should know their place." The protagonist replied, "Yeah, they are generally obedient to him. They should be rewarded for this." Victor grinned. "Is he a fool? He says they don't listen to him. What other reward?" MC at that moment spread his arms to the sides and said, "His kids still have a lot to learn, but so be it. Today he will spoil them." With these words, the goblins pointed their guns at the players. Elsa was surprised. "What? Do they have guns?" Victor, perplexed, said, "What for?" The next second, the protagonist commanded, "Fire." The goblins killed Victor with one accurate shot. Elsa, putting her hands to her face, shouted, "What was that?" James shouted, "What the hell? Why them?" The next second, the bullets were flying at them. James activated the block with his shield with sharp movements. Elsa screamed, "Is he a cheater?" The system reported, "Player kill. Crime index 6. After some time, the goblins finished off the players. The protagonist, putting his hand on the shoulder of one of them, said, "Guys, that's enough. An hour has passed. Their brother is already here." He happily ran to his comrades. They hugged, and the protagonist, putting his hand to his face, said, "Because of this, the crime index rose again." Yes, but he could not do otherwise. Then he snapped his fingers and said, "Exactly. They worked so hard, they should be given names." Pointing to the first goblin, he said that he would be Ilkeek. Pointing to the second, he said that he was Duckeek. Well, as for the third, he would call him Samkeek. He thought what kind of pleasant emotions were floating between them. Meanwhile, Carice slammed his fist on the table in irritation and shouted, "What is this idiot trying to achieve? Why did he show up now?" He put his hand to his sweaty face and thought, since Lone couldn't defeat him, his level is higher than 650. At worst, even 700. He sold both his house and car, all for their plan. And everything will fail, Then he received a call. Answering the call, he asked, "What?" The player said, "Hey, he's talking to the guild leader of the Paprika Special Offensive Team right now." He replied that it was so what? He said that he heard that he was having some difficulties with the execution of the plan. They could help them. Sometime later at the Kingdom of Haran, Sauron County. Kyohei looked at the guards through the spyglass and said that he will not be able to pass. He went overboard with killing players. The system notified that his crime index was 6,100 points. 100 crime points is equal to 1 day in prison. So he will have to spend 61 days in prison. Time is too valuable to waste it like this. He turned around when he noticed a shadow and said that he was just in time. He saw a seagull that landed next to him and said that yesterday he bought one piece at the marketplace. They are in no hurry with the delivery. He should give it to him. The bird made a loud sound and grabbed his mask. It stretched out its wing with a displeased look and made a loud sound, and he asked with a confused look, "Why fight right away? He will definitely pay for the delivery." He gave a few gold coins and the bird handed him a scroll. He took it with a displeased look and thought that this bird, like the players, are evil freaks. He needs to try this product. He went to the guards. One of them pointed a spear at him with a worried look, ordered him to stop, and loudly asked what was wrong with him. The second guard asked, "Is there something wrong with him?" He saw his crime index and loudly said that he is a cold-blooded killer. The protagonist looked at them with a worried look and asked, "Are they talking about him?" The guard asked loudly, "How is he like this? How does the earth even carry him?" Suddenly, interference appeared in front of his eyes and he asked, "But he can pass, right?" The guard put away the spear and told the traveler that he can pass. He entered the city, and the second guard asked what happened to him. He said that he himself did not know. He probably just made a mistake. He walked away from them, took out a scroll, and said that he had not wasted his money. It was a great investment. The system notified that it was a scroll of identity concealment. It could conceal his personal information for 24 hours, with 49 uses remaining. He thought that, however, there were cases when it had not worked against NPCs and the players had been taken to prison. He would have been incredibly angry if luck had not been on his side this time. He went further and said that it was time for him to hand in the quest. After some time, Raiden asked with a surprised expression, had he already explored all 4 zones? He laughed, patted him on the back and said that he had never doubted him. It was not for nothing that he was the master's favorite student. He should go inside faster. They entered the office and he said that, so that was what that dark cloud was. MC thought with a serious expression that he would not ignore it anyway. The level 450 boss would appear right in the middle of the newbie location, but it no longer concerned him. The system notified that the quest was completed. Raiden's alarms. Quest rank E. Explore all 4 zones on the plains of Sauron and find the cause of the strange cloud. Conditions met, reward a letter of recommendation to the Thieves Guild. He handed him the letter and said that he had helped him out a lot, as they had agreed. Here was his letter. He asked where he should go with this now. He looked at it and asked if he knew anything about thieves. He looked at the letter with a slightly sad look and said that of course he knew. They had an unenviable fate. They live in the slums or even hide from law enforcement in the sewers. Raiden agreed and asked, so he wondered why such a talented musketeer needed a criminal class. He put the letter in his inside pocket with a smile and said that it had to be that way. He thought that by choosing such a class, he was doomed to be labeled a criminal. Thieves lose a lot of experience when they die, and they are also very likely to drop an item of equipment. Of course, their faces often appear on the bulletin board, so players can easily come for such people. However, he only named the downsides, but there are also very big advantages. After receiving the class, no one else can see his crime index. He can also gain experience by committing crimes. Among all the possible subclasses, the thief is optimal for him. The ability to open locks, set traps and bait, maneuverability. Although the class is terribly unpopular, but in his position, it is the best choice possible. He sighed thoughtfully and asked, so where should he go? Raiden said that he should go to the Panpon liquor store. You need to go to the alley behind the store. There will be a passage underground. Kyohei said that their lair was closer than he thought. In that case, can he get the second stage of the Musketeer class? He was very surprised by what he heard and asked, has he already reached level 200? He can, but isn't he tired after the journey? He said that for now he would like to know the conditions for moving on to the second stage. He thought that there were stages in each class. He will take first degree in the Musketeer class. The system announced that Shibboleth Academy, the exam to receive the second stage, the Musketeer class. He thought that in order to receive the second stage, he must literally live on the territory of the academy and train. It is necessary to spend 12 hours a day at the academy and do so for 30 days. Raiden said that he thought he already knew this. The system announced that new skills were available, a passive critical shot and an activated double jump. Critical shot increases the critical damage dealt by a musket. Critical damage increases by 2% for every 1% of mastery. Mastery is 9% plus 50% to the current critical damage. Double jump rank C, cooldown is 20 seconds, costs 5 mana points. Thanks to this skill, he is able to make a second jump in the air. For every 1% increase in mastery, the jump height increases by 2 centimeters. Mastery is 0%, the current jump height is 1 meter. Raiden said that it was time to begin the first day of testing. He must hit the target set at a distance of 50 meters. He did not have time to finish because the main character hit the target, and he said that this was expected. He could at least listen to the end for the sake of decency. He turned to him and asked, since the test was passed, he can go to the city on business? He allowed him and said that he was only not allowed to go outside the county. If he left this area, he would have to take the test again. Did he understand everything? He started to leave, agreed and said that he would go shopping, and that's it. After that, he came to the shopping district. He began to look around and thought that it should be somewhere here. The location was unlikely to have been changed. He noticed a plant in the clearing and thought that this is it. He pulled it, opened the hatch, and the system notified that a sudden event. He entered the underground trading quarter of the county of Sauron. He thought that in the game Fateful Chronicles there are two types of trading platforms. The first of this category is the main platform, purchase and sale transactions between NPC and players. Of course, there are restrictions on the sale of all kinds of junk and dangerous substances, but these are all details. The second type is the black market. Here you can sell anything and as much as you want. There are no restrictions. When you get to this place, the crime index will begin to steadily increase, and they can even arrest you on the way out. However, the risk is worth it, because here you can find things that ordinary NPC do not have. The system notified that he was entering a dangerous zone. If the guards find him, his crime index will increase and he can be arrested. He waved his hand and said that he already knows about it. It should be somewhere near the entrance. He saw a box by the door and said that there are things that do not change. He took out the bodies of angler birds and said that this was their way out. He thought that among NPCs, these were infamous monsters. Sometimes these birds would drift into the county, where the local soldiers could not kill them. As a result, there was a decrease in military power due to the debuffs of the monsters. In order to somehow save the soldiers, the county had set a bounty on the bodies of these monsters. The reward for each killed monster was Sauron coins, which could be exchanged for either of the two playgrounds. He asked if one body was worth 1 coin, so he would get 11 in total. He took the money with a smile, took the coins that fell from the box, and said that he had earned quite a lot. He thought that all that was left was to find a suitable skill sphere. Thanks to the power of the 6-pointed star, even this weak skill, summoning goblins, had become very strong. What would happen when he got a stronger sphere? MC opened the door, and the system announced that he had entered the underground shopping district of Sauron County, the black market. He saw various people and said that shopping was starting. He approached the counter with various goods, and the system announced that the copy scroll could create copies of any manuscripts except spell scrolls. He read it and thought that it was a pretty thing. He noticed the incendiary rounds that deal double damage and thought that he really needed it. The system announced that the inventory expansion necklace added slots to his inventory. He started shaking his head and thought that he should stop looking at everything. He snuck in here despite the risk of being caught for one purpose. Today he must buy a skill sphere. He approached the merchant and asked if he had any skill spheres. He said that a few days ago some travelers came to them and bought everything. The other travelers tried to stop them, but they killed all the dissenters. He doesn't remember what exactly they called themselves. It started with Pa. Kyohei thought, with a very displeased expression on his face, that they were the Paprika group. Can they really reach everywhere with their hands? They are trying their best to weaken the county. These freaks are incredibly annoying. The seller pointed to the side and said that they only had one sphere left. He looked at the sphere next to him, and with a surprised expression on his face, thought that it was a lightning charge. The system notified that the skill sphere was D-rank lightning charge, an activated skill. It costs 400 mana, has a cooldown of 10 minutes, and allows you to shoot lightning charge projectiles. He thought that it seemed to be an area of effect skill. With this, you can destroy an entire group of enemies with one bullet. He had to get this sphere. He asked loudly how much it cost. The seller was reading a newspaper and asked if he could read price tags. It cost 40 coins. He was very surprised by this and asked loudly, "Why is it so expensive?" He understands that this is the black market, but this is too much. The seller calmly said that if he has any complaints, he should contact the store owner. He is just a seller and did not come up with these prices. The seller, whom he approached earlier, asked with a smile, "How does he think? Why did not those travelers buy this sphere? No one will buy it for such a price in life." The main character with a displeased look said that he already thought that luck smiled on him. A man approached the seller of the sphere and asked this idiot, "How are things with sales?" He said with a frightened look that the client was interested in the sphere but refused. This made him very angry, and he loudly asked, "What does this mean?" His task is to sell this sphere. He looked at this from the side and thought that it seemed to be the owner of the shop. The man turned to him and asked, "So he is the buyer. What does he want to buy?" He said that he wanted the sphere of the lightning charge skill. He extended his hand towards him with a wide smile and said that it was a great choice. It would only cost him 40 coins. He said with a confused look that he should understand that a skill sphere for such a price was too much. Doesn't he think so? He can buy several spheres for that kind of money. The man showed him the middle finger with a displeased look and asked that beggars like him were not welcome in his shop. Did he understand? If he understood that, he should leave and not interfere with his people's work. MC looked at him and wondered why the skill sphere had such an inadequate owner. If there were no spheres here, he wouldn't even come here. He needed to be patient. It was not too early. Maybe more goods would appear when people came? However, such a skill would be very useful. It didn't seem like he could get at least some kind of discount from this freak. What should he do in such a situation? The system notified that the Paprika Special Offensive Guild was preparing to lay siege to Sauron County. It will start in 30 days. The event start time is May 16th, and it is recommended that players who are not interested in the event leave the location. He read this and thought, are they planning a siege to gain control of the county? However, those players who cannot leave the location will be forced to participate in the siege. The people around him said that he certainly heard that they were planning something. However, this is crazy, isn't it? Kyohei said with a worried look that, in order to receive the second stage, he still needs to take the exams at the Musketeer Academy for 30 more days, and the siege will start in exactly 30 days. He realized that he was forced to participate in the siege and thought that his leveling plan had simply cracked in seconds. However, this is not the worst thing. The siege is a large-scale event that will be covered by all game channels and media. If he, Ted, the character who was supposed to be removed, appears in the media, right after that he ran down the street very fast and thought, why is this happening to him? Why is the ambush going to start in exactly 30 days? What are these idiots even thinking? If he stays in the city, he won't be able to get out of there until the siege is over. The siege will last about a month at best, and up to 6 months at worst. Sitting here for so long will make him go completely crazy. In the current situation, it would be more logical to refuse the second stage. The siege will start in exactly 30 days, right? He only has 1 day to escape from here. Then he manages to get the second stage and escape. Suddenly, something broke the high fence in front of him with terrifying force. He thought with a displeased look, what happened this time? The guy said loudly with a displeased look that he knew that he could do this all day long. He promised to pay him everything last week. Renaro, whom he threatened, asked to give him a little more time. He slapped him hard in the face and said loudly that he always says the same thing, but the debt keeps growing. He said the same thing to that one-eyed idiot. They have to pay or leave. They have no other choice. He shoved the protagonist with his shoulder, loudly called him an idiot and asked why he was standing there. He ignored it and loudly called his name and asked how he felt. Why did he beat him up, and who the hell was he? He held his face after the punch and asked Mr. Ted, is he back already? He came at the wrong time, like always. He's leaving. If he wants to know the details, it's better to ask the master. He turned around abruptly and loudly called Raiden. He entered the office, he looked at him and asked, is he back already? He asked with a displeased look, what's going on here, and who is that freak? He said with a sad look that his name is God Juntai, the owner of Shiboli Academy. MC looked at him with a serious expression and asked, did he just call him the owner? He agreed and said that he was an idiot who had been buying property in Sauron County for several years in a row. Not only was he rude, but he also constantly overcharged for rent and charged fines. He tried to save the academy in every possible way until the Baron returned, but unfortunately, this could not continue. This bastard took the academy's treasure as collateral. He felt awkward saying this, but he would have to get a second degree at another musketeer academy. He was very surprised by what he heard and wondered if they would transfer him to another academy. He would have to start training all over again, but then he would finish training in another 30 days. This bastard's level must be low. Maybe I should just kill him, and then it would all be over? While he was taking the exam, killing a player on city territory was unacceptable. The guards would solve such a case with a 100% probability. After he was sent to prison, he would be mobilized in any case to participate in the siege. It seemed that in the day left for him, he would be able to at least somehow leave these lands. However, all the circumstances were literally against him. What should he do now? Wait, the way he hit Renaro on the head, he had seen this address somewhere before. He remembered the owner of the skill sphere, who did the same thing and said with a wide smile that he understood everything. He called out his name and said that he should let him solve this problem. The system announced that a new quest was available, the Shiboli Crisis, quest rank A. Unfortunately, the Musketeer Academy was facing financial difficulties and an unbearable rent increase. Raiden, who was about to close the academy, was filled with hope after hearing his words. He must resolve the financial difficulties of the Shiboli Academy and prevent the Musketeer Academy from closing. After some time, Kyohei came to the Panpon wine shop and said that here it is. He went into the building located in the alley and said, there will be a secret passage underground. This must be a thieves' guild. It's dark and damp here, just like them. He walked on, embarrassed because there was no one here, but suddenly someone asked, did he not like the local atmosphere? He jumped back sharply and aimed at the voice. The man waved his knife and said that despite his stupid clothes, he was quite perceptive. Tisai, the great thief of thunderclouds, looked at him with a smile and said that it was still somehow impolite to break into someone else's house and point a gun at the inhabitants. The protagonist looked at him with a surprised expression and thought that he was invisible. Without his keen eye, he would not have even sensed his presence. The Great Thief is the third stage of the class. He is a high-level NPC, but his level is even higher than Raiden. He lowered his weapon, apologized, and said that he was from the master of the Shiboli Academy. He gave him a letter of recommendation to their guild. He looked at him and said that he remembered him. He seemed to have studied there during the time when he was still a master. Baron's disciple became a criminal. The world never ceases to amaze him. He wondered, did the scroll of concealment of identity not work on him? It seems that he has the skill perception. Although he is a thief, but he also has a subclass. Tisai said with a smile that it was not uncommon for adventurers to be criminals, but they usually didn't accept just anyone. What caught his attention was that he said they, and immediately after that, the people in the room stopped using invisibility. He chuckled and said that he was pretty smart, but brains alone weren't enough to survive in their profession. MC looked at him with a serious expression and asked what was so funny about that. He held the potion he came with a wide smile and asked, so he didn't notice anything? He was very surprised when he noticed it, and he called him a traveler and said that he would give him one piece of advice. People who hide their crime index so carefully are too easy to rob, although no advice would help such a strange person. He will take this potion from you as payment for valuable advice. He apologizes, but it would be better for him to leave. He definitely won't teach an idiot who didn't even notice how something was stolen from his hands. He picked up the potion and loudly told his friends that they should drink to the easiest theft in history. As soon as they drank the potion, the system notified that the paralysis effect was applied. Their stats were temporarily lowered. He pointed his knife at him with a very angry expression and asked loudly, did he know all along that they stole the poison from him? He came to receive a class, but in the end, he dares to act like this. He didn't have time to finish, because Kyohei said that it was not for him to say this. They stole the potion from him and felt like the rulers of the world? He summoned goblins and told his soldiers with a smile that they should attack. They killed everyone around, and Shisai said that this couldn't be. How can a guy who hasn't even mastered the second stage of the class be so strong? He stood in front of him and said that since he understood everything, he should give him a class. He spat blood and said that he was definitely a difficult person. He was wrong about him. The system announced that he was getting a second class, a thief. He received 3 new skills thanks to training from a great thief. The activated skills of the thief class, stealth, sneak, and hack. He thought that this was great. It was time to try out the new skills in practice. He came closer and used the steal skill. The system announced that it was an activated skill. The cooldown was 10 seconds, the cost was 10 mana. He can steal from anyone in front of him. For every 1% of proficiency, the steal rate increases by 2 points. The system announced that the steal was unsuccessful. He was confused because of this, and Tisai said that he was really not that smart if he thought this would work. He should study while he was alive. Before stealing something, he should enter stealth. Without it, any idiot would notice that he was trying to steal something. The system notified that this is an activated skill. The cooldown is 30 minutes, the cost is 100 mana points. The ability has 3 levels. Stealth decreases during an attack, using potions or activating other skills. For every 10% of mastery, the duration of stealth increases by 1 minute. The mastery level is 10%, the current duration of stealth is 5 minutes. He said that the theft was successful or not depends on the number of crowns. Failure is 1 crown. Not only did he not steal anything, but the enemy also discovered him. 2 crowns, he managed to successfully steal, but as in the first case, the person will find out that he was stealing from him. 3 crowns are a complete success. He will receive the items and the target will not notice him. For each theft committed, he is given double the amount of experience. All this, of course, is conditional. After all, his level, the level of the target, theft mastery, and the item of theft itself also affect success. The stealth skill, the psychological state of the target, and the environment around are also important. The protagonist got really angry at what he heard and thought that these subtleties alone were giving him a headache. Before stealing something, you need to go invisible. Right? He used these 2 skills in the correct sequence, and the system notified that the probability of successfully stealing 27 copper coins was 52%. The probability of successfully stealing an apple seed was 75%. The probability of successfully stealing an unfinished love letter was 82%. He looked at this with a displeased expression on his face and thought that he seemed to be a 3rd-level thief. But he had very little money. Or is this all he can steal? He will steal what has a higher chance of success. He got 2 crowns, and the system notified that he got an unfinished love letter. If the theft was successful, experience and skill percentage were gained. He started scratching his head and asked, so that's how it all happens? By the way, what kind of love letter is this? He started reading it out loud, and Tisai got angry because of it and started to feel embarrassed and asked loudly who gave him the right to read it. He should give it back immediately. MC looked at him with a wide smile and asked if that was the case. Then maybe he could help his student who had just recently stepped onto the path of thievery. He extended his hand with a smile and asked if he was joking right now. He wouldn't help him after all. He had poisoned him and killed his subordinates. He should get his class and leave here. He couldn't expect more. He started reading his letter out loud again, which made him loudly ask him to shut up and said that he understood him. What exactly did he need? He looked at him with a sly grin and said that he should have agreed right away. He should tell him how to improve his stealing skill faster. After a while, he looked out from around the corner with a serious look and thought that he knew it. He treats absolutely everyone like that. Ton demands exorbitant rent, and if they don't have the funds, he kicks them out and takes all the property for himself. He bribes the guards to leave him alone. He's a real bastard, but he's quite cautious. Did he just take the identity concealment scroll? He wasn't wrong. This guy is the same bastard from the black market. The valuables he takes to pay off the tenants' debts can be considered stolen. Of course, they can't be sold in the shopping district, which is why he opened his own underground store. There must be a loophole in his strategy. He noticed that he took the book, and the system notified him that it was Juntae's accounting book. Kyohei looked at this with a tense expression and wondered if he couldn't trust the management of the store even to the NPCs he hired himself. Although, this was his chance. Having this book would put him in a difficult position. Sometime later, when there were 5 days left until the siege, he stood at the black market and thought with a smile that the day of the decisive battle had come. Thanks to Tisai, he got what he wanted. The system announced that the mastery of the stealing skill was 50%. The current number of stealing points was 150. He noticed Juntae walking nearby and told the seller that he should sell it to him. He looked at him and said that he could not sell it at such a price. He said that he should be grateful that he was willing to pay at least a coin. The seller refused and said that it was too little. Juntae approached his seller and said that he had fixed the sales for today. If he did not try to bring him more money, he would be fired. The protagonist used the stealth skill and thought that it was now or never. If he failed, his crime index would increase to incredible values. He used the steal skill and the system notified that 6 silver and 47 copper coins, a Kushir large shield, a superior mana potion, and a magic gold ring. The steal rate was 100%. He thought that it was great that the steal success rate was high. Because of the identity concealment scroll, the steal success rate was increased tenfold, which was why Tisai was able to steal the poison from his hands so easily last time. However, he seemed to know about it. He was standing next to him and the system notified that the ledger, the steal rate was 10%. He thought that it was easier to steal an item when it was in the inventory. The success rate would immediately increase tenfold. He used his skill and successfully stole the book. He was very happy about it and thought that he was even given double experience and mastery points for successfully stealing it. He used the skill again and stole his ID card. MC looked at the stolen item and thought that the cooldown for stealing was 10 seconds. His invisibility time was currently 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Maybe he should steal something else while he still had time? He was very surprised when he noticed that he could steal Sauron coins with a 100% chance. He was shocked by what he saw and wondered if he could even steal that. Right now, he was invisible in the black market, surrounded by merchants. If he stole all of this, he would be able to buy a lightning bolt. After a while, the system notified that he had increased his level to 206. 32 Sauron coins were available. He thought that he had stolen 40 times, but had only managed to find 32 coins. It was not always possible to steal this. Juntae knocked on his shopkeeper's head and said loudly that he had to earn more money. Kyohei watched from the side and thought that 8 more coins and he would be able to buy a skill sphere. However, the invisibility would soon end, so he had to quickly steal the coins and escape. He used his skill and the system announced that the Thunder Art Skill book, the stealing success rate was 75%. The Ruby Medallion, the stealing success rate was 95%. Money, 30 gold coins, the stealing success rate was 82%. 8 Sauron coins, the stealing success rate was 50%. He was happy when he saw this and thought that 50% was too risky. What should he do? His original plan was to steal the book and the ID card, thereby blackmailing him, so he would have forced him to leave the academy alone. But now, will he ever have such an opportunity again? This is his only chance to get the lightning bolt sphere. However, if he is caught red-handed, he will be locked up and can forget about getting the second stage. He still made up his mind, used his skill, got 2 crowns, and the system notified that the theft was successful. He gets experience points and a percentage of proficiency. Juntae began to look around and loudly asked, where did he go? He must go out immediately. The system notified that Thief's stealth, the skill has expired, now he is visible again. Immediately after that, they saw each other.
Thanks for watching. I'm going to introduce the new manhwa in different voices. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video. And if you want to see a specific manhwa name in the comments, I will try to make it.